All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Thursday, February 13th in the NBA, and we have a 5-game slate, except there's a little caveat there, a little asterisk, because every team is going to be on a back-to-back. The entire league played yesterday. Now we have a 5-game slate, so 10 teams in action, but we could see some weird stuff, so definitely tread lightly. I'm sure you'll hear that a whole bunch today, but it definitely is true. We could see guys, not playing as much. We could see guys jump up in the injury report that aren't there just yet, so just tread a little bit lightly. With that said, I do like 2 plays that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about some leans in this one as well, just because I can't be as confident with the back-to-back news with potential injuries popping up on the board. So I'm going to talk about 2 official picks. I will talk about a couple other ones after that as well. And I do want to share you guys a slip on a DFS platform that you guys might want to jump on. So I'll share an exact slip that I actually placed already, and you can go ahead and tail that if you want to do that. So if you're new around here, we are going to go over the recap of yesterday's video. We went 4-0. We're still freaking rolling here. I don't know what's in the title round. That's 28. Was that 28-6 run or something absolutely wild? It's been ridiculous. 4-0 sweep yesterday. Those are the best because obviously if you're straight betting these, our hit rate has been ridiculous. You've been making profit there. Some people don't like straight betting. Some people are in states that can straight bet or they can't straight bet. I came from a state that couldn't straight bet. Now I can, so I've been messing around with that. But yeah, when we go 3-1, obviously I want to be excited about that, but I know some people are parlaying these, so the sweep is what you're really going for. So 4-0, you can't get better than that. 50-50, those are all 50-50 plays. We're not doing minus 200 plays over here. Sometimes we actually give out plus money plays. If you want to know like the math behind that, just so you know, if you flip a coin 4 times in a row, I think it's like a 6% chance that you'd be able to guess every single outcome from that just on 4 plays. So 6% chance or 6.25% chance. It's hard to go 4-0. It's not something to like brush over. So celebrate if you guys want some money. Definitely let me hear it in the comments down below. We've been absolutely killing it. Leave the video a like. Obviously subscribe if you are new. We're going to keep rolling throughout the season. It is a break coming up. So I want to know what you guys want to see from me during this break. I could definitely go over a Props Madness. That's a tool we're going to be using. I use in every video. Props Madness, maybe tutorial, how I use it. We could be looking into other tools as well. Just what do you guys want to hear from me? We could do a whole bunch of different things. So let me hear that in the comments as well. But let's get into the recap. Let's talk about some injury news. We don't have to talk about back-to-back because everyone's on a back-to-back, and then we'll get into the plays. Let's do it. All right, so jumping into the recap of yesterday's picks, we talked about 4 of them. They're all right up top here. Jaylen Green over 26.5 PRA. That looked good throughout the entire game. Pretty good at halftime. He almost got there pretty much at halftime, but he crushed that line. Easy money. Detroit crushes the Bulls once again. Victor Wembanyama under his 23.5 points. He stayed under. That was another bet that looked really good throughout. I think he ended with 17 against my Celtics. Emmanuel quickly under 9.5 rebounds and assists. Another one, not sweaty at all. We stayed under pretty easily. There's a blowout potential, and it was a blowout. So a good read there. Against a tough defense for guards specifically. And then Toumani Camara, the unsung hero of the night, over 10.5 points. Was not looking good. He was doing, blocking every shot. He had like 3 blocks in the first half or something crazy. But he was not scoring. He wasn't shooting. He wasn't scoring. He actually came out in the fourth quarter. I didn't know if he was going to come back in. I knew he usually, played a whole bunch of minutes. But I didn't know if he was going to come back in. And then all of a sudden, he starts, hitting a few shots in a row. He gets 11. Then he ends with 13 points to complete the sweep. So awesome to see there. These are the 2 leans I almost talked about in the video. I ended up just keeping them in Discord exclusive. Obviously talked about a whole bunch of different plays. We send out my own plays in this Discord as well for a lot of the DFS sites. But Tatum over 26.5 was a lean for me. He easily got that. He looked good all throughout the day. And then Malik Beasley over 3.5 3-pointers made. Ended up getting there, but he scared us. He had 4 very late in that game and randomly hit like a couple in a row. So really, really good day. Again, it always helps to leave a comment. I read them all, but it also tells YouTube to push this video out a little bit more. So definitely celebrate in the comments down below and leave the video a like while you're down there. Let's try to keep it rolling. Talk about some injuries, and then we'll get into the plays. All right, so jumping into the injury news here for Sacramento. No one on the injury report just yet, so they look pretty healthy. But again, back-to-back for everyone. Someone could randomly go through shoot-around and not feel too good, and all of a sudden they're a late scratch. So no one for Sacramento just yet. For the Pelicans, CJ McCollum, I'm going to call him a game-time decision. I don't think he played yesterday. I know he didn't play yesterday. So just keep that in mind. He should be returning today. But if something flares up, he could be a no-go. And then for everyone else, Zion would be the one I'm a little bit scared about. He's actually played okay in back-to-backs in the past 2 years, but just always someone that with injury concern and conditioning and things like that, just to keep an eye on. For Golden State, Steve Kerr came out and said that he might not play his starters today. No one's on the injury report as of right now. This was last night after a tough loss because it was like a late game and now they had to play an earlier game for prime time or whatever it might be. He was just mad about that. So I don't know. I assume they're going to play. No one's on the injury report yet. The only guy's going to be Kuminga that's out. For Houston, looks like they're pretty much ready to go. Sengun, maybe getting a game time decision tag, probable tag. But then Steven Adams, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., and Van Vliet, a couple starters here for Houston that are going to be missing. They've missed some time now. So nothing too crazy there. For Miami, we got a couple guys that potentially going to be in here, maybe not. Tyler Hero, game time decision. Duncan Robinson, game time decision. Kevin Love and Terry Rozier look like they're probable tags. Keep that in mind. For Dallas, they have no center. They're literally starting Prosper. They're starting Kessler Edwards. Is that Kessler Edwards? I believe it is, yeah. Starting Kessler Edwards, Kyrie, Max Christie, Klay Thompson. You can see the projected minutes here, especially for some of these big guys. I'm going to be looking, actually, Max Christie might be a play for us today, just because I'm going to lean on him, back-to-back set, younger guy. They might roll him out as much as he can handle right before the All-Star break. But obviously a ton of injuries, no PJ Washington either. So literally Washington, Lively, Gafford, Davis, all out for this team. And Powell, if you want to throw him in there as well. For OKC, Chet Holmgren, probable tag. That's good to see. Everyone else pretty much healthy except for Caruso. Looks like he's going to be out. And then AJ Mitchell, Kaysen Wallace, also a game time decision here. For Minnesota, a bunch of guys are going to be on the injury report. Anthony Davis is game time decision. Mike Conley, game time decision. Dante DiVincenzo and Randall still out for this team. So obviously keep an eye on especially Anthony Edwards. Is he going to play that game? For the Clippers, no one popping up right now except for obviously Kawhi Leonard. He was ruled out last night. This is a back-to-back. He's not going to be playing this one for conditioning. Ben Simmons looks like he's a game-time decision. That's a weird one. And then Eubanks also going to be out for this team. He's a new addition. We haven't seen him suit up yet, I don't think. So the Clippers, relatively healthy. But again, I'll just keep saying this. Everyone on a back-to-back, so just keep that in mind. Lastly, for Utah, looks like we're going to get Collier starting for the point guard position. Sexton might be returning here. We're also going to get Markkanen, John Collins, Walker Kessler. You really don't know what you're going to get with this team. Who's going to play? Who's going to not play? We could see everyone sit. We could see them all play. Utah's a tough one to kind of crack, so just keep that in mind. We don't really know what's going on with Utah just yet. So that's the injury news. 5 games. I don't even know if that helped because there's so many question marks, but always want to point that out. Things to think about before you jump on a play that you really love, not knowing that something else could be affecting that. All right, so jumping into our first play here. First of all, we're going to be using a tool called Props Madness. I do this in every single one of my videos. It's an awesome tool. The video is going to do the talking for me, but pretty much if you want to check it out, if you're like, I have to check this tool out, this thing looks awesome, you can do so. Use my link in the description down below. When you use my link and use code RICH, you're going to get a free week trial, so you can mess around it for a free week. No harm, no foul there. And then also, if you want to continue that, you're going to get 25% off your first month or your first year, whatever package you decide to go with. But it's awesome. It gives us so much information. The season shot charts are huge. Player type analysis. How do these guys score? It's not just like, oh, this team gives up a lot of points. This team gives up a lot of rebounds. It's like, okay, how does that guy specifically, match up against this defense? Do they lock down spot up shooters? Do they, play one-on-one and really, lock in on the isolation? That's how we, do the nitty gritty on these deep dives. And it's an awesome tool. So definitely check it out using the link down below. And we are going to start off with Naz Reid. He's going to be our first play. I really want to get to his scoring because I know he's, in terms of spot up, they are pretty weak here. He actually scored against this team pretty well the last time they played. It is the OKC Thunder. There's always blowout potential. This is an 8-point spread. Anthony Edwards might not play, but the real thing here is Julius Randle's not going to be in this game. And if Naz Reid's going to be seeing the time, that's what I'll start off with here. He's projected for 35 minutes in this thing. He is on a back-to-back, so I'll point that out first. Hasn't scored very well in back-to-backs, but he's only played 1 game without Randle in a back-to-back, and it didn't affect his minutes all too much. So still in the back-to-back without Randle, he's still getting around that 35, 36 minutes that we've been seeing without Randle in the lineup. So throughout this year, without Randle in the lineup, he's been scoring really well. He's been, chipping in with some assists, but the one I'm going to get to is his rebounds. That's the line we're going to talk about. 6.5 rebounds here going up against the OKC Thunder, who give up a lot of rebounds. Now, this is a tough one because it is a smaller slate. There's a bunch of back-to-back news, and the Thunder now have Chet and Hartenstein starting. So that rebound number, I don't know if that's going to start dropping, but I did like to see a guy that plays kind of similar to Naz Reid is Trey Murphy III. He played this team with Chet and Hartenstein. Chet, by the way, probably not going to get a ton of time, probably around 25 minutes. And Trey Murphy had 7 rebounds. He also had 23 points and 5 assists, which is why I want to mention PRA, points and rebounds, could be a good look here for Naz Reid. In this spot, it's just always hard to take an over against OKC, but you can see his main source of scoring is that spot-up shooting, and he's been able to do that. Brooke Lopez had a good success against this team, and then again, Trey Murphy against this same team with Chet kind of playing limited minutes. he had 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. So if you want to get a little bit crazier with it, Naz Reid definitely in a good spot to score the ball, definitely in a good spot to rebound the ball. You could look at his PRA too. I'm just going to keep it simple with his rebounds. He's going to get the time. So this is without Randall, his hit rate. But even in games, just he's getting that much minutes, 30 to 30. I guess we'll just do 30 to 40 minutes because he's expected for 35, projected for 35. As you can see using RotoWire right here, projected for 35 minutes. This hit rate looks like really good, 66.7%. You think about this team giving up a whole bunch of rebounds. This Thunder team has been doing that. Maybe a little bit tougher with the two bigs down there, but pretty good history here. 66.7% when he's getting the time. Love to see that. If you look at the games that he's getting that much time without Randall, it's going to be very similar to the games without Randall, but 66.7 as well. So I'm liking the spot here, 6.5. Doesn't have to put the ball in the basket, just has to get some boards. If you want to, go with Naz scoring the ball, I definitely don't mind that. You can also see similar types of rebounders to Naz Reid. Guys like Towns, Horford, Porzingis, these are guys just in similar spots. That's what, Props Madness has kind of deemed their similarities based on their stats and things like that, like where they are on the court. 83% of them have gone over 5 or 6 against this team. So obviously this Thunder team gives up rebounds. A little bit different here with Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, I would assume. We don't have as much data, but I'm going to go with it. 6.5 boards for Naz Reid. I think he can get there for us. So last things I'll mention on this one, just to kind of round it out. Naz Reid, obviously pretty good spot to rebound the ball. The one back-to-back he played with Randall in the lineup, he had 11 rebounds, and that was against Houston, so that's a pretty good thing to know. He did play 36 minutes in that game. I mentioned his points. I forgot to do his rebounds, which is the one we're attacking, but he obviously scored pretty well in that game too. 15 and 11 would have gone over his points and rebounds line. And then he also went against this team already this season. He had 27 points and rebounds in that game. He had 8 rebounds, and he scored the ball pretty well in that one too. So again, I'm looking at points and rebounds. I'm going to land on rebounds to be a little bit more careful. Hopefully he gets the time. He's in a pretty good spot too. Without Randall, I'll just end the Naz Reid talk with this. He's been pretty good without Randall. So hopefully he sees the time. Hopefully he can grab some boards. And it's also back-to-back for everyone. So hopefully shots are clanking off every which way for the Thunder side of things. Maybe they won't shoot as well on this back-to-back set. So that could be, a storyline to talk about. So Naz Reid over 6.5 boards. That is the first play. All right, moving along to the next play here. It's going to be Max Christie for the Dallas Mavericks. He was part of that Luka trade, if you don't know. He's a younger guy, kind of a throw-in in that trade. But obviously a guy that's shown some promise, especially when he gets the time. He's been playing pretty well for the Mavericks. I've been over this in almost every single game with the Mavericks. I think every single game, he's been over this with the Mavericks, and he's getting a ton of time. You can see the minutes. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, he was playing for the Lakers, didn't get a whole bunch of minutes. This was the game he got traded. This was the first game he played for the Mavericks, so he's been over in all of those games. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller just by putting the minutes up because he's projected for 35 minutes. So I'm going to be very, cautious or careful with this and just do 30 to 39 minutes. I love to see that. The last game he played, he got 39 minutes. So minutes could be trending upwards. This is a back-to-back with a whole bunch of injury news for the Dallas Mavericks. If there's one guy that's going to get a bunch of time, it's going to be Max Christie. This is also 1.5 spread, so hopefully close. Hopefully he remains on the floor. He is a starter for this team. And he's been pretty consistent. Again, just creeping over in a lot of these games, but getting over there nonetheless. So 30 to 35 minutes, or 30 to 39 minutes, projected for 35 minutes. He's now over this in 48% of games. That looks like a whole lot better of a hit rate. Now, he's playing for the Lakers in a lot of these games, and I've been looking at the shots he's been taking on this team, or for the Mavericks. He's averaging 10.6 shots. I did the math there. But yeah, 12 shots here, 10 shots here, 10 shots here, 13 shots here, and then 8 shots here. That was his first game as a Dallas Maverick. So again, I'm going to start thinking he's going to be shooting the ball, especially if he gets a whole bunch of time. These are all games he's played with the Mavericks. Hasn't had a game where he shot less than 8 times, and he's had some games where he's shooting 13 times or so. So I'm just going to go to games he's shooting at least 8 times. Now this turns into a 70% hit rate. Let's say maybe he doesn't shoot 16 times. Maybe let's cap it at 14. Still a 68% hit rate here. So I think he's going to have, a little bit more volume. I think he's going to be able to shoot 10 to 12 times, and that's going to look even a little bit better. Let's say 10 to 14 times. Obviously, that looks better. 10 to 12 times, kind of my thinking here. 85% hit rate. It might be a sweaty one. He might creep over for us. He might just miss, but I think he's in a pretty good spot here, especially considering his matchup against the Miami Heat. Spot-up shooting is kind of their weakness here. 22nd in terms of defensively. They are a pretty average defensive team on everything, but spot-up shooting is a little bit one of their weaknesses. That's where Max Christie does most of his damage here. 35% of his points coming from the spot-up shooting. So it plays into his hand. I think he can knock down some threes. 3-pointers is also something I want to look at. 57% hit rate in these same kind of things, averaging that, or shooting at least 10 to 12 field goal attempts, getting the minutes. I think this is plus money at 135 in a lot of books. Plus money nonetheless in a lot of books. So I think that could be a way you roll this out for Max Christie. Plus over 50% hit rate for plus money. I don't mind that at all. So kind of a couple ways to play him. I think I'm just going to land on his points. The hit rate does look really good. Might be a little bit sweaty like I mentioned, but I don't mind this matchup. Weak to spot up shooting. I think he's going to get a ton of time, and I think he'll have the ball in his hands a little bit more on this back-to-back going into the All-Star break. So Max Christie, kind of a guy that you might not expect to talk about, a few weeks ago before that Luka trade, but here he is on the board for an official pick over 14.5 points, maybe a sprinkle a little bit of plus money on his threes. All right, so let's talk about some leans here. These are plays that I don't know if I'm going to play or not just yet. Jaylen Green, I'm kind of on the fence for. I did actually submit a play with him, which you're going to see in a second here. But Jaylen Green under 23.5 points. He's been, obviously, throughout the entire season, been very up and down. Jabari Smith Jr. went out and he started shooting a whole bunch and scoring a whole bunch. But now recently, after that huge, big explosion where he was going over his points every single day, now his points lines up to 23.5, and he's kind of been more 50-50 recently. Now, he's played this Warriors team a couple times already, 3 times actually, and he stayed well under in all these games. Now, he hasn't played them without Jabari Smith Jr. in the lineup. If we go ahead and take him out, you'll see there's no matchups here, so that's one thing to say. But considering the fact that he had 3 games and he hasn't scored more than 14 points in any of those, that's a pretty good sign for me. Then the other thing I want to talk about is this is his hit rate for the entire year. Yes, we have to talk about Jabari Smith, Fred VanVleet not being in the lineup, but back-to-backs, he's not been as good. This is a 36% hit rate on the on the over for back-to-back, so that's also a good thing to see. And then he also isn't as good home. he's home today. 24% hit rate at home. He has not been going over this at all, really, throughout the entire season. Away, he steps up for some reason, 55% hit rate, but for home games, he's only over this in 24% of games. So home, looks really good for the under. Head-to-head looks really good for the under. Back-to-back looks really good to the under. So yes, there's other things that go into that, but just considering the factors of where this game is and when it's being played, that looks good right off the bat. Now again, Jabari Smith Jr. is going to be out of the lineup. I want to not brush over this. We're going to get no Jabari Smith Jr. We're going to get no Fred VanVleet, and now it looks a little bit better. But just no Jabari Smith Jr. looking pretty bad. Without Fred VanVleet, he gets a little bit more defensive pressure as the main ball handler, 42% hit rate. So I don't really mind the fact that Jabari is still out. I think Jaylen Green's like one of the most streaky shooters in the entire league. If he goes in there and hits 8 threes, he's going to absolutely crush this line. But if he gets the main defensive pressure from the Warriors, I think he could struggle a little bit, as we've seen him do in the 3 games this season. Now, how does he score his points? Pick and roll, ball handler, transition. Those are his number 1 and 2 ways of scoring. He also scores in the paint a decent amount. 34% of his points come in the paint. This Warriors team, now even with Jimmy Butler, probably even a little bit better. Really good at pick and roll defense. Really good at transition defense. They are pretty mediocre and above the break threes. That's where his main source of shooting comes from. The most shots he's going to get. They're ranked 12th there. So it makes sense that they've been able to kind of shut him down a little bit throughout the season. The one thing I don't want to see or don't like to see is that guards in his position, Christie, Irving, Lillard, guys like this have been able to go over them. Now, this isn't a props madness similar players. It's just positionally. So, I can't see if these guys play exactly like a guy like Jaylen Green. But these are guys just high volume scorers and shooters for guards. So scares me a little bit that a lot of guards have been going over against this team, especially recently. But with that said, kind of everything checking out, all the boxes kind of checking out. The fact that they're home, they wanted to rely on them as much. The fact that they're head-to-head looking really good. The fact that it's a back-to-back and he's a streaky shooter, going to be tough for him, I think. Now, the thing that also scares me is coming off, 2 bad games. He had 18 points and 22 points, so maybe he's due for an explosion here or creeping over, just with that streaky sense of nature, up and downs for him. He is on 2 bad games. He could be going over here soon, but I like the play. It's not an official play, but it is something that I am playing. Jaylen Green under 23.5 points. I don't mind it. So I do have a couple more players that I want to talk about just a little bit. They're going to be more like leans, maybe not full plays. But this is a Dabble slip that I submitted. You can definitely check out Dabble. Use my code in the description down below. It's code RICHDFS, and Dabble's been a platform that we go to almost every single day. They have very, very good value, kind of weaker lines, and 6X for 3-mans, which is always a sweet spot for me. This is the 3-man that I put in. Jaylen Green, we just talked about him, and then Max Christie and Naz Reid over their points and rebounds for Naz Reid. Max Christie's points is actually at 14.0, so pretty good value for this Dabble slip. So definitely check out Dabble, again, using my code down below. It's also going to give you a free month of my Discord, so a good way to get in there. Definitely read the description. There's a whole bunch of different ways to get in for free on my Discord community. It's not just my plays and then get out of here. It's my plays and a whole, community of people, like-minded people. They share their own plays. We got some seasoned chefs in there, always cooking up some good slips. And then we celebrate our wins, complain about our losses in there for sure. But it's a really good time. We got a lot of people that understand this game. We're not going to win every single day, but when we do, the vibes are always going to be high. And when the vibes are low, we're really just making fun of players. We're not playing well and things like that. So we're all real people in there. We have a lot of fun, so definitely check us out. Dabble, good way to do it because I got you a free slip here, but we do play them pretty much every single day. The value is always good on Dabble, and now you got a free slip. So definitely check out Dabble. RichDFS is the code. Description down below to check it out. And then, of course, you made it this far in the video. Go ahead and leave the video a like, comment something down below, subscribe if you are new, all those good things. It tells YouTube to push this video out a little bit more. My hat's a little sideways, but it's good for the algorithm, so thanks for that. And then jumping into some other plays here, Derrick Jones Jr. is someone that I wanted to look at, knowing that there's no Kawhi in this one. 10.5 points, I was looking at the over. He's been pretty consistent at getting, relatively close. He is projected for 29 minutes in this game. His minutes have been, right around 22 to 27 or so minutes, but without Kawhi, we do see a little bit of a jump there. Obviously, he's not going to be in there. He did just score 29 points against my Celtics back in January, almost a month ago. So we haven't seen Kawhi miss a game in a while. But that's something I do like to note. He's been kind of hit or miss, 50% without Kawhi, but he's projected for 29 minutes. So I'm just going to plop this up to 24 plus minutes. This looks like a 75% hit rate. That looks pretty good. This is a back-to-back set, so something to look forward to too, or not look forward to looking into. He's actually over in all 5 back-to-back sets where he's getting that much time without Kawhi. So something I was looking at in terms of the matchup, it is the Jazz. They're weak defensively. We don't really know who's going to play in this one for the Jazz, but also the Clippers, a little bit older team. Someone could pop up in the injury report. It's only noon right now, so if someone misses another guy on top of Kawhi, Derrick Jones Jr. going to get a little bit more touch, a little bit more usage in there as well, so that's good to note. But if they're fully healthy and only Kawhi is going to miss, this is pretty good hit rate. Definitely a lean. I don't know if I'm going to go to it 100%, but one I wanted to point out for you guys. And then Zion is also someone that I kind of want to get to today. The only bad thing here is that he's on a back-to-back, but he hasn't been horrible in back-to-backs, I guess, this season. Horrible in the sense that he's played 28 and 33 minutes in back-to-backs, so I don't mind that. He's not on the injury report just yet. And if you actually look at last year, where he wasn't as good, he played pretty well in back-to-backs. He scored, over this point line 57% of the time. His minutes were, right around that 29 to 36 minute mark. He's projected for normal minutes today as of right now. If he plays, this one's looking pretty good because he's absolutely torched this team twice now. He had 40, he had 33. I don't expect him to be able to slow him down with Sabonis down low. You see him get a whole bunch of free throws against this team too. They're ranked 23rd in that regard. He obviously does a lot of his damage in the paint restricted area, but he also has some nice touch around the rim, non-restricted area paint. So that's pretty good. He's been dominating this team. I think it's something I want to look at. I also think they're really weak to spot up shooting, which isn't even going to show up on Zion's thing. Spot up shooting 9% of what he does, but they're ranked 30th in that regard. So definitely could be someone that gets advantage of that if Zion's going into the paint and they do somehow swarm him. You could look at his assists as well, or maybe just jump in. He had 7 assists last game. He had 4 assists the game before. Points and assists might be the way that I do it. He was obviously over in both those games. He could chip in with 5, 6, 7 assists and then score the ball a little bit. Maybe this is the way I play it. I got it at 28.5. That's what I was looking at it. I think a lot of books still have it at 28.5. A couple ones at not 29.5. If I do it here on OddsJam, we'll see it like right up to date. Points and assists. Zion. A couple books still at 28.5, including Betr. That's probably where I would play it right now. It goes to 29.5. I still don't mind it. It's not my favorite play in the world. This is a lean anyway. But 28.5 points and assists for Zion. I think that's pretty good. He's been absolutely dominating his team. I don't see him slowing him down. I know it's tough to do this, over and over against the same team, but I don't think they have anyone down low to kind of slow him down. And again, back-to-back set, kind of hard to get to Zion. This is why it's a lean. But he had pretty good success last year in back-to-backs, and he's projected for the normal amount of minutes. So Zion, if he plays 28.5 points and assists, could be something to look at. Not telling you to play it exactly, but if you look into it and you like it, I think it's a solid look. And then while talking about Zion and assisting the ball, again, they're horrible at spot-up defense, so a guy like CJ McCollum, maybe over his threes, he's coming off a game where he had 0 threes against them, but definitely a bounce-back spot. Maybe they're like, we'll let CJ kill us. Well, he had 6 threes in the 2 matchups prior to that, so if he's going to get the time, if he's going to be going up against a team that's weak against spot-up, I like CJ in the spot. If you want to look a little bit farther into this, not just head-to-head, we can look at teams that are weak to the spot-up shooting. Let's go here. Let's go to pointed spot up shooting, and we can see the last bottom third of the league. He's over this in a lot of these games, 61% of games he's over this. Then you consider the fact that there's some injuries here. No DeJounte Murray, and we can see this is over now in 66% of games. I think that's what it was anyway. But I think he's in a pretty good spot, at least to go over this 2.5. It's juiced, but I definitely like it. If you want to ladder this up, maybe 4+ threes. He's done it twice against the Kings, and he's due for a bounce back spot. So CJ over is 2.5 threes, 3.5 threes, whatever you want to do it. I think that's a decent look here too. And then lastly, Bam Adebayo is another guy I wanted to look at. He's been scoring the ball really, really well. His points line's down to 17.5. Pretty good scoring matchup considering the fact that the Mavericks have no center down low. So he should be the biggest guy in the court, kind of be able to play some bully ball. Again, they don't have AD. They don't have Gafford. They don't have B.J. Washington. They don't have Lively. They really have none of their bigs, their main bigs. So Bam, pretty good spot to score the ball. Really good spot to rebound the ball as well. You can see players that play him like him are in good similar spots to him, rebound like crazy against him. 80% of games they're going over their lines. So definitely a good rebounding spot, especially if you're going to get this at 10.5. I think Bam in a good spot to kind of have an overall good game. Maybe rebounds is the way I would play it, but he's been scoring well too, and I think he's in a good spot to do that again. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. Again, we talked about two main plays, threw in some leans in there as well. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. Again, the two main plays were Max Christie over his points and Naz Reid over his rebounds. I think those guys are in good spots, the best spots that I found for today. And then we talked about some leans. Don't go away, though, because we still have to do the giveaway, because I was supposed to do that on Monday, got sidetracked, and had to tally up the amount of entries we had. And when I said that there wasn't a whole bunch of entries that were confirmed yet, you guys should have listened. There's only like 8 people in this $200 giveaway that we're about to do. Go to the wheel right here. I'll do it live. Hopefully these are all the names. So these are all the names that confirmed with me in the Discord or whatever it might be. I needed that screenshot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That 8 names, only 8 names going into this for a $200 giveaway. So next time I do a giveaway and you just have to sign up for something, it's pretty much free for you to join. Just remember, only 8 guys got in it last time, so you have a pretty good shot at this. So this is live. Haven't done this. We're gonna see it live. Probably ramble through this. The winner is going to be Tito 075875. $200. I will give it to you in some way. We got to get in touch with each other, hopefully in the Discord. If you do have the Discord, which I know you do, get in touch with me there, but also comment down below and I can just remind you to get in the Discord or wherever it might be. But Tito, $200 going to you. Congratulations on winning that. And thanks for everyone for participating, signing up, using my code and all those different things. Hopefully you guys took advantage of the sleeper discounts that they gave out for the Super Bowl. So that will do it for me. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. Again, 2 plays. The run continues. We're absolutely dominating the NBA right now. Now, of course, there is a hiatus coming up. No games until Wednesday after this, so almost about a week of no NBA games. I probably won't mess around with the All-Star game. Maybe I'll make a video just for fun, but it's not the same in terms of the research and the analysis on the matchups and things like that. There's not a whole lot of defense going on. Maybe 3-point winner. That would be kind of fun. Dunk contest winner. I don't really know yet. But more likely a tools tutorial, how I use these tools. Might be hard to do a props madness one because there's no games to kind of look at the tool. But I'll do my best. Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe you guys come up with a better idea than I have right now. But I don't just want to not make videos. So just let me know what you guys want to do throughout the week with no NBA games going on. Maybe we do some hockey or something like that. So that will do it for me. Baseball kind of coming up right around the corner. That will be exciting, but we're definitely going to focus on the NBA all the way through the playoffs. But the summer, the plan is to do WNBA. The plan is to do some baseball, and I'm just going to keep grinding out here. So the run continues, 28-6. Absolutely wild, 4-0 yesterday. Hopefully you guys made some money, and hopefully you guys made some money tonight. Make some money tonight. So good luck with all your bets. I will see you in the next video, wherever that is. And have a nice weekend. Peace out.